Kaya lang, siyempre nga, ang problema dyan, para namang sobrang coincidental na nahuli si Saldico sa Europe, bigla siyang aalis. Baka mamaya, wala na tayo mapanghawakan dito sa bansang ito. Lahat ng ating nais pasagutin, mawala na lang sa ating jurisdiction. Nag-iingat lang po tayo. Pinag-iingatan natin ang karapatan ng ating bayan din. May karapatan din tayo mga Pilipino na sabihin sa kanya, wag muna umalis.
Ang pinakamabuting dapat gawin, aminin, nagkamali. At pagbutihin na sa susunod, magkakaroon muna ng fact check bago mag-aanunsyo, lalong-lalo na kung ang presidente mismo mag-aanunsyo. Pero hindi. Sinusubukan pang lusutan. Hindi daw nila sinabing naaresto si Zaldico. Ano ba yung mga nasa Facebook page ng presidente? Malinaw na malinaw nakasabi doon, inaresto, nasa kustudiya. Yung pala, walang mga katotohanan.
So let me be clear. I will not keep quiet anymore. I will face this head on, and I will speak with facts because the truth deserves to be heard. Today, I am taking this opportunity to speak directly to the Filipino people. So let us be honest about what becomes law. The national budget is not the act of one person or one chamber. It is a product of a constitutional chain involving the executive, the House, and the Senate. This is something I want the public to understand.
Nako, sinasabi ko na sa inyo malinaw na malinaw pa, gaya ng sikat ng araw, kung sino ang fake news sa bansang Pilipinas. Yan ay ang bangag na presidente at ang kanyang tagapagsalita na si Ante Claire. Fake news, fake news, fake news. Alam niyo, nakakainis. Siguro, may mga pagkakataon na nagkakamali sa ating datos. Pero kung nagkamali sa datos, gaya ng sinabi na nahuli si Zaldico sa Prague na wala namang katotohanan, at heto na, ang sarili niyang kalihim ng Department of Justice ay nagsasabing walang pag-arestong nangyari kay Zaldico, siguro, ang pinakamabuting dapat gawin, aminin, nagkamali, at pagbutihin na sa susunod, magkakaroon muna ng fact check bago mag-aanunsyo, lalong-lalo na kung ang presidente mismo mag-aanunsyo. Pero hindi. Sinusubukan pang lusutan. Hindi daw nila sinabing naaresto si Zaldico. Ano ba yung mga nasa Facebook page ng presidente? Malinaw na malinaw nakasabi doon, inaresto, nasa kustudiya. Yung pala, walang mga katotohanan. Alam nyo, tao lang tayo. Miski presidente po pwedeng magkamali. So kapag nagkamali, aminin, humingi ng paumanhin, at pangakuan ng taong bayan na sa susunod, dahil siya ay presidente, talagang paintingin ng fact-checking bago magsasalita ang presidente. Pero kapag ganito, nalulusot pa, nakakabuisit sa taong bayan. So talagang dahil hindi inaamin ang pagkakamali, ang lumalabas talaga nagpapakalat ng fake news. At imbis na mapatawad, lalo lang nabubuisit ang taong bayan sa ginagawa ng presidente at ng Ante Claire. Sabi nga nila, no? Falsus in uno, falsus in domino. Magsinungaling sa isa, magsinungaling sa lahat. So in fairness, pagdating doon sa kanyang pagiging addictus benedictus, hindi naman niya tinanggi. Ang sabi lang niya, I will not even respond to that. Ha 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 ha. Naalala niyo nung tinanong siya tungkol doon sa Pulboronic video? That is not deserving of an answer. Ha 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 ha. So technically, hindi daw siya nagsisinungaling. Pero yun nga po, kapag ikaw ay presidente, may pakialam ang taong bayan sa iyong kalusugan, lalong-lalo na sa iyong estado ng pag-iisip. At dahil dyan, kinakailangan ikaw ay maging truthful pa rin, magpakatotoo sa taong bayan. Ngayong ikay nagsinungaling, napatunayan na dahil ang sarili mong kalihim ng Department of Justice na nagsabi na walang pag-aaresto, ayaw mo pang umamin, wala nang paniniwalaan sa mga sasabihin ng presidente. Lalong-lalo na kung darating ang punto na sasabihin niya, hindi ako adik, nagsisinungaling yung ate ko na adik ako. O di ba? Falsis in uno, falsis in domino. Sinungaling sa isa, sinungaling sa lahat.
Mr. Romualdez was supposed to have a checkup in Singapore, I think. They were trying to ask us to allow him to leave. But because we have a bulletin, a lookout order with immigration about those that who are under investigation, we did not respond favorably to the request that he be allowed to leave. Because, ano yan eh, magkakaroon na naman ng haka-haka at kuro-kuro yan. Mabuti lang, sana naman, dito lang siya magpa-check up. Kasi naman, magagaling naman ang doktor natin dito. Actually, they were burning the lines yesterday and up to this morning. But ako ay held my ground. Sabi ko, when you join government, you already surrender your right to travel, especially to another jurisdiction, especially if you're under investigation.
Kailan sana siya bumiyahe sa Singapore?
Today dapat. Hindi namin siya pinaalis, hindi namin pinayagan na ma-lift yung bulletin niya kasi nga, naka-lookout order because we've been investigating him actively. Baka hindi na bumalik eh. We don't want that to happen.
Sinabi po ba niya kung ano sakit na ipapagamot?
Well, siguro heart, sugar, diabetes, heart, usual diseases of our generation. 5 araw yata hinihingi. Kaya lang, siyempre nga, ang problema dyan, para namang sobrang coincidental na nahuli si Saldico sa Europe, bigla siyang aalis. Baka mamaya, wala na tayo mapanghawakan dito sa bansang ito. Lahat ng ating nais pasagutin, mawala na lang sa ating jurisdiction. Nag-iingat lang po tayo. Pinag-iingatan natin ang karapatan ng ating bayan din. May karapatan din tayo mga Pilipino na sabihin sa kanya, wag muna umalis.
Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. For a long time, I chose to remain silent. I did so out of respect for the legal process. I did so because I did not want to add more noise to an already divisive issue. I did so because I believed that if I cooperated fully, submitted myself to the proper authorities, and answered every question asked of me, the truth would eventually speak for itself. But there comes a point when silence is no longer prudence. My silence has been abused and weaponized to build a narrative that is false, twisted, and unfair. So let me be clear. I will not keep quiet anymore. I will face this head on, and I will speak with facts because the truth deserves to be heard. Today, I am taking this opportunity to speak directly to the Filipino people. From the start of this controversy, I have been cooperative. I personally appeared before the proper authorities. I voluntarily submitted my affidavit to the ICI. I provided the information and documents asked of me. I did not hide. I did not run. I did not evade scrutiny. I faced it head on within the proper channel because I know there is no evidence that proves I committed plunder, conspiracy to commit plunder, or any similar offense that the Ombudsman may be contemplating against me. And because I have nothing to hide, I am today authorizing the immediate public release of the affidavit I submitted, together with all supporting information so that the Filipino people can judge for themselves who has been transparent and who is simply being politically targeted. Now let us address the most absurd accusation of all, that I am supposedly the mastermind of this corruption scheme. How can I be the mastermind? I was the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, but the House of Representatives is only one part of the branch of government, the legislature. The national budget is not conceived, executed, implemented, bidded out, supervised, and completed by one congressman or even by Congress alone, and certainly not by the Speaker of the House. I want to make this simple and clear. The national budget does not depend on just one person. The budget does not begin in the House. It begins in the executive. The agencies and departments prepare their proposals. The executive consolidates them into the National Expenditure Program, and that program is then submitted to Congress. From there, the House deliberates, but the House is not one person, and it is certainly not the Speaker alone. It is a collegial body made up of hundreds of members, multiple committees, vice chairs, and institutional processes. In fact, there are around 85 committees, each with its own jurisdiction, leadership, and members. No speaker can personally control every committee, much less direct the actions of other branches or government agencies. And in the Appropriations Committee itself, there are already more than 100 members, with many vice chairs, and Representative Toby Tiangco, who has been very vocal and upfront on this issue over the past months, was himself a vice chair of the Appropriations Committee in the previous Congress. So I have to ask, if there were real concerns about irregularities in the budget process, why were these not formally raised during the deliberations or even during the plenary? The budget deliberation does not stop in the House. The Senate also conducts its own deliberations, reviews its own version, and plays its own role in shaping the final budget, and it is not a bystander. It is an active constitutional participant in this process. After that, the House and the Senate reconcile their versions in the bicameral conference committee. Only then is the final bill transmitted to the President for approval or veto. So let us be honest about what becomes law. The national budget is not the act of one person or one chamber. It is the product of a constitutional chain involving the executive, the House, and the Senate. This is something I want the public to understand. The budget process is collective, multi-layered, and shared. Accountability must apply to everyone involved, not selectively assigned after the fact, and certainly not when it becomes politically useful. If corruption were to occur in a magnitude made known to us over the past months, then it's clear that the real corruption does not happen at the level of the general legislative approval alone. It happens at the level of execution of the General Appropriations Act. It happens when projects are implemented. It happens where projects are actually implemented, where procurement is undertaken.